is on. That's great. So I know people are getting it. Oh, look, Trish. Oh my God. Wow. Substack had some crazy stuff going on this morning, everybody. Thank you so much for the patience. Anyone that can. Oh, yay, Greta. She thought she missed it. Okay. Oh, hallelujah. Okay. So if anyone can pop onto their feed, because we had about 11 people on here that were lined up. If you can post it, guys, with the new link, that would be amazing. So down in the right-hand corner where you see that little envelope with the little arrow out, if you could post that link wherever you can with the new one, that would be amazing. Okay, cool. Oh, Steffi, thank goodness. You know
We were
what?
in presence. We were in
We did good.
presence.
We did good. We were
You were very
calm.
calm. You were very calm with all the technical glitches. Let me tell. We'll give Todd a star too for his
Todd too.
presence. Yeah.
Absolutely. He's our guy in the background. Okay. What's that, honey? He just took his heart attack pills, he said.
Oh, good.
It
Good
all
for
works out
him.
as should. So welcome everybody to SoulFull Sessions Live. I'm so sorry it took us a little while to get to you. Those that are watching the recording, you missed all the entertainment because there was a lot of stuff going on today behind the scenes with our technical details on Substack. Kicked us out of 2 lives. So you know what? This is all about being present. That's our focus for today. If you're new to the Soulful Sessions, this is all fueled by the Soulful Way, which is our kind of our umbrella that's on Substack, and it's all about where values meet life. So every single month we pick a theme. And then what we do is provide touch points for you to stay connected to those things that deeply, truly matter. And so we have our live sessions. We do an interview with someone that's living it. And this month is presence. And so I am wildly honored to be joined by my amazing friend of over like 20 years, Steffi Black. She comes from a whole media corporate background, then moved into corporate kindness, spread the kindness. And then she came into Qigong and presence and working with Spring Forest Qigong. And so, Steffi, welcome, darling. I'm so glad.
Thank you, Jen, and thank you for being calm with all the technical things because that's when we can get overwhelmed,
Yeah,
right? When things
yeah,
aren't going right, and
absolutely.
presence is something we can all practice. Breathing. I was actually doing a little meditation when you were going through the things, just
Yeah,
because when we feel anxiety, taking
yeah,
that moment, that heart coherence moment matters.
absolutely.
Matters.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
running out to ask my 18-year-old daughter who's home from university to help.
Yeah, yeah. These are such good lessons. Asking for help where you need it, remaining
That
calm and peaceful in the moment. And we were talking each other through, and we kept saying to
was
each other, it's
great.
okay. It's good. It'll work out. Cool.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh. So I'm just going to say hi. People are saying good morning. Oh, that's Rebecca. She's
Good
with us from
morning.
London. Tanya, you're new, I think, to the Soulful Way. Welcome.
Hi,
Welcome. I'm
Tanya.
so glad. And then Todd's on there. Tanya, you were on like right at 10:20. So thank you for your patience. Antonio, you're new as well too. Gail's been in it from the beginning. Dr. Tanis is a beautiful client and treasured friend of mine. Trish, right
Yes,
in there.
yes.
Greta's a member. We've got lots of beautiful people here today, so we're going to have a lovely session. So,
Beautiful.
Steffi, I want to just take a step back because you and I come from the same type of
Mhm,
training or world. Like you were
mhm,
in media and corporate, I was in agency and communications. You and I kind of met at that realm, like at that time. You were making the transition to corporate kindness and starting the campaign of Spread the Kindness.
mhm,
Maybe talk about why the transition. I know for me, and that's why you and I align, but this
mhm.
idea where you start out in that very efficient, high-paced world. Todd used to say, my husband, for those of you that don't know, he's in the background. Todd used to say, long before we met, that he used to come home after work and he would watch Steffi Black on global television.
Oh, I was
Right?
CRTC filler. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Between Beverly Hills 90210.
Wow.
So
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 yeah, just that transition.
just that transition, absolutely. First of all, in transition, we often think back to what do we really enjoy? What
Yeah.
makes us happy? And we don't often ask, I'll say spirit. A great exercise is writing out what actually makes me happy. And I
Yeah.
really was never a corporate person. I had the opportunity out of school. I was in broadcast, as you know, and that was because I like to tell stories and I love to hear what people got excited about. So being an
Yeah.
interviewer was one of my favorite things.
Yeah.
And then when I was out of television and then moved into corporate communications, um, I went to a healthcare facility because I wanted to give back. My aunt was in palliative care,
Okay.
and then listen, then the department, my president CEO, my mentor left, and I was off on maternity leave.
Yeah.
And so I was lucky enough to be given a severance at the time.
Mhm.
And so it was like, well, what do I want to do now? I have a young child and I don't feel excited about going back into the corporate world. That doesn't make my spirit happy. Again, what's a question you can ask yourself? Does this make my spirit happy? We're not asked
Absolutely.
that very often. And so for me, it was about, well, I want to give back in some way. So I would volunteer. And then I married a Jewish man and have a Jewish household. And one of the things we would do was Shabbat dinner. And I'm not big on duty. I like tradition, but I don't like feeling I should do something without
Yeah.
meaning behind it. And I know you
Yeah.
understand that very strongly with your values. And so I would start asking my daughters on Shabbat when they were little, um, what makes no, this is what I did. Sorry, going back. Can you do something kind for someone else? I loved
Yeah.
following Random Acts of Kindness Foundation. I still love
Yes.
them.
Yes.
And they were little and so open to that. And so one day I took my daughter to school, transitioning from corporate, remember, to
Yeah.
something else. I took my daughter to school, and the Hebrew teacher, Mrs. Hendelman, overheard me saying to Layla, my older daughter, honey, don't forget to do something kind for somebody today. And she came up to me and she said, I heard you ask your daughter to do something kind for somebody. Would you come and talk to the class about this?
Oh.
And at first I was like, oh gosh, no, I'm not an expert in this, thinking mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
Again, don't let the thinking mind dominate. We want to let our
No.
heart. And I can't do that. I don't know. And I just went, okay, I'll think about that. And
Yeah.
I got excited, ran home, went on Random Acts of Kindness Foundation, saw they had a curriculum and put together something on my
Awesome.
own on kindness. So make a long story shorter,
Yeah.
that's how it started. And from there, I went into classrooms in different schools and brought kindness curriculums and working with the basis of Random Acts of Kindness Foundation, speaking to teachers. And then I went into corporations, which was a little bit of a harder sell, but so
Yeah.
important
Oh.
about why kindness in the culture is so
Yes.
important.
Absolutely.
It
And
is,
I feel too, you and I both, we've resonated on so many levels through the years. But I think that's one of the things that made it a good transition because you and I came from the business world. So when I went in to talk about values or talk about mindfulness or being connected, listening to that voice within you and the guru within, or unleashing that guru within, and really that authentic self, people could hear us in a different way because you came from the business world.
I agree with you. If I'd come out with kindness, just doing kindness
Yeah.
without school, nobody would have paid attention. That I
No,
shared
and
my
it's because of the
background.
background.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Absolutely, Jen. It made a difference. And it was about a lot of the presence of why kindness matters is often the pause before you speak. Right?
Yeah,
Is this that famous expression, is this kind? Is this helpful?
yeah,
Is this
yeah.
necessary?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So then from there, so
Mm,
that was a lot of years. I was doing the Mad Hero
mm,
project for the boys and,
great.
and really doing those missions of the me and we kind. You and I
Yes.
really connected on that. And all that time you're doing spread the kindness with your little bird. I loved all your t-shirts and you did the
Yes.
whole, like, did the
Yeah.
branding thing and amazing.
Yeah.
I want to take a pause for a moment because a couple people have made just some comments that I just love to honor.
Sure.
So
Okay.
Tanya was saying, I love to tell stories as well. I've been taking
Mm.
acting classes since 2016, feel the same as I'm in the process of finding my passions and wanting more creativity over my retail day job where I've been working for 20 years, trusting my heart is still in the works for me. It's so that question, Steffi, that you talk about,
Mhm.
I've asked myself, that's the reason for my transitions. I know that it really is an essential question. What do I really want to do with my time, right?
That's
How
what
do I want to serve?
That's right. And to Tanya's great. Thank you for sharing that, Tanya,
Yeah,
by the way.
absolutely.
Is I would write out what makes your spirit happy.
Yeah,
Like just an exercise, if you're open to an exercise from
yeah,
today, is actually every one of us can do that. Right now, it's
absolutely.
a new moon energy. I follow the lunar calendar, right, for my
Yeah,
meditations. This is a time of transformation and new beginnings. It's also spring.
yeah,
So, what makes you happy? And you think, oh, well, I don't know, knitting, baking, those actually tie into the next
absolutely.
thing you can do. And if we pay attention to things, whether it's a sign or a conversation with a person, when we're open, that can lead us to the next transition. Instead of thinking with the mind, oh, I'm
Yeah,
supposed to know, we're all like this, right? We think too much. I'm
yeah,
supposed to know what I'm supposed to do next. Well, actually, you don't need to know. It's about exploring what is
yeah,
possible, right?
absolutely. Absolutely. And feeling like really tapping into, and we're going to talk about this as we do the transition from kindness into talking about Qigong and that presence, like that meditative presence and being conscious of that, is finding ways to quiet that mind, to become still, to go within, because that we writing out those questions, when we can tap the answers from that place, it's a very different place. So maybe talk about that next, Steffi, how you made that transition then from corporate kindness. That was going so well for you. You were connecting with so many beautiful people. I remember the love glasses revolution. You were connecting with that, get out the heart
Yes,
glasses. There
yes.
was so much going on in that realm. So what really made you deepen? This really, it was just a deeper level into
From
the
the kind, and
qigong,
I see
into the qigong.
into
Yeah.
the qigong. I also see Greta has something she said
Yeah,
too.
I am so much in that explorer stage. And this is beautiful because Greta, you're so like Greta is one of our members, like one of our soulful
Yes,
collective. So we do the
yes.
workshops every single month where we deepen the practice and we ask those questions of ourselves and
Mhm.
we take the time to be introspective and then engage in community to be able to have these conversations. So Greta, that's amazing. I love that you're in that stage. You're the prime soulful collective gal. I love it because you're right in there doing the work. So Steffi, I mean, when you were deepening from corporate kindness, then all of a sudden you were making that shift to
Mhm.
presence, more meditation. What
Mhm.
drew you into Qigong? And I would ask that maybe you explain what Qigong is, because not everybody might
Sure.
know what that
Oh,
is.
sure. Most people don't know. Like Greta was saying, and Tanya in the new stage, I was exploring, right? I was working part time for my husband's law firm. I was
Yeah,
doing that, but that didn't feed my spirit. It was
yeah,
helping pay bills, and at the same time, I was doing more meditation. And I
yeah.
work with people. I really like the meditations. Just to share for people here, I really like the meditations of David Chi, who wrote Sacred
Okay,
Palace. He's an amazing man. It's an interesting story I can share if we have time about what you would
please
have
do.
written on your tombstone. Dr. Joe Dispenza,
Yep.
the work of Marie Manichuri. So I went on a silent retreat in 2021 when I was exploring what's next for me. And on the silent retreat, I had found Spring Forest Qigong, which is like movement medicine. Qi means
Yep.
energy, Gong means to cultivate and work at. And I knew I wanted something. I did Ashtanga yoga for 10 years, but it didn't feed my spirit. It was great, but I wanted deeper a connection to
Sure.
emotional energy. Most of us overthink and overprocess or even let our feelings take over a lot. Spring
Yeah.
Forest Qigong works with emotions to change challenging ones to uplifting ones in a very simple way. To me,
Yeah.
simplicity is one of my mantras. I have a
Yeah.
busy Gemini mind. I like things that bring me into simplicity and presence. So I found a teacher who was teaching Spring Forest Qigong. This was COVID time. And I got permission on my silent retreat to do level one. And after I really connected to these very simple moves. Even right now, if anyone wants to try it, rub your hands together.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
let's feel our energy. Let's feel our energy. Rub your hands together in between the fingers. And Jen, you know Qigong too. And
Mm.
just pull your hands apart. Pull your hands apart and just start to do a little energy ball. You may, as slower you go, the better. You may or may not feel energy, but there's energy in there. There's energy in presence. And so I love the fact that it was so simple. We can do a finger growing game later too. I just responded to the simplicity of it. The
Yeah.
man who founded Spring Forest Qigong, this is an interesting story. He was in the Chinese Communist Revolution and his family was thrown out on the street because the middle class became the enemy of the state. And so his neighbors turned on neighbors, and a lot of things happened that were very hard. He was sent to a labor camp. He had chronic back pain, knee spurs from a tree going into his back, just a lot of pain, and even suicidal depression. And when he was in China and going through this, he heard about a famous Qigong master who came to town. And he thought, I have nothing to lose. I'm going to go. I mean, they talked about Qigong in China, but not everyone did it. He said, I'm going to go. And this master was going to work on everybody in a field full of about 350 people. And he was
Wow.
going to work with his energy because when you're trained in Qigong, you get more connected to energy and you can do distance healing. And so anybody can do it. It's just the
Yeah.
training.
Mm.
So he went to this thing. Remember, he's got chronic back pain, knee spurs, and suicidal depression. The master said to him, and he goes, in China, we're more obedient than North Americans. The master said, you're going to lie in a field. This is going to be 8 hours. You can't go to the bathroom. You're going to feel like you're burning up at one point, like you're on fire. You can't move. You're going to feel like you're drowning with water. Don't move. Another point, you're going to feel like you're stung by 1,000 bees. Don't move. All those things happened to him. He got up out of this. 80% of his pain was gone after 8 hours. So this story, I'm telling you the story for
Yeah.
a reason. I was drawn
Yeah.
to the simplicity
Yeah.
and the way this man changed his life by
Yeah.
finding this ancient movement medicine.
Yeah.
So simple. And I
Absolutely.
just was so drawn to his kindness. The tenets of Qigong are kindness, compassion, and love. And he talks all about unconditional love. And we can do a moment of presence too. And
Yeah.
so from there, I read, I just started taking the classes and I noticed a difference in me. And even my homework this week, to give you an example, very simple, is say, I love you to everything before you interact with it. That glass of water, not out loud,
Yeah.
inside that person, that you're opening up your heart. You're just naturally opening up your heart. So I
Yeah.
was just drawn to the simplicity of it, the
Yeah.
power of the healing that happens with it,
Yeah.
and the unconditional love that is the basis of it. So
Absolutely.
does that, and do
Yeah.
you want
Oh,
to
it does.
do you want to do
Well,
one
you know,
moment?
for me, what's that?
Yeah,
Sorry.
we can do a moment after if you want with our
Yeah,
hearts. One
for
moment, but go
sure.
ahead, Jen.
I love that. Where I want to leave people with some of those elements. I want to say, Tanya, I know you comment. Can you write them in the chat? So I don't tend to write in the chat just because I want to be so present with who we're interviewing. But afterwards, we will connect, and I will actually. There's a recording of this that is available to everybody for you to go back. If you're subscribed to the Soulful Way, it automatically goes to. And then I will pick out the gems and I will put them into the newsletter this week coming so that you have a recap of the things that Steffi recommended so that you can connect with that and you can do some more research on that. So I want to say that first. And then, so amazing, Steffi. So you introduced me to Qigong. Ironically, I had a client
Mhm.
that I was doing other work. He's a calligraphy. He actually channels calligraphy. He's an artist
That's
and
beautiful.
channels calligraphy with messages. And he was my client about 12 years ago. And he did Qigong. But because we were focused on something else and I was doing my own meditations, I didn't really make that connection. And
Mhm.
then you introduced our family to 100 days of Qigong with another
Master
organized
Master
session.
Ming Tong
Yeah,
Gu.
Master Ming
That's it.
Tong Gu.
Yeah.
And we did it as a family for 90 days with our
It's
boys
amazing.
and my husband. And, the boys were a part of a lot of it. Todd and I were in for the whole amount. And that introduced me to Qigong. And there is something magical. Like, my story, Steffi, of walking El Camino de
Oh,
Santiago,
which is
24
amazing.
hours before I was leaving. I put my back out. I literally could barely move. I thought I was going to have to cancel this 20-year dream and the trip. And then, because of what I'd learned through that Qigong practice, I did 48 hours of Qigong before I headed onto the road, meditations that I tap, myself. And so,
Mm-hmm.
between the Qigong and the meditations and healing with the trees and, in the environment, I was able to walk 22 kilometers on my very
Which
first
is
day.
amazing, Jen.
I had been
Amazing.
to chiropractors,
Yeah.
massage therapists, like my whole life. And now I can't say enough about it. I have my own kind of version that I do, but
Mhm.
I can't say enough about it that there's something kind of magical about it. There's something about the movement, the stretching, the connecting to the energy, the meditative flow, that it touches every aspect of our body and our spirit and even our minds,
Mhm.
that creates some kind of mystical, magical, phenomenal alignment of healing. And
Mhm.
it's second to none. I just
Mhm.
can't say enough about it. And so in that now, Steffi, this is your full focus now, is doing your Qigong.
It is doing my qigong. I still do the coaching, but
Yes.
more coaching, bringing in qigong and my astrology work.
Yeah.
I teach twice a week online, and it's
Beautiful.
been incredibly satisfying because I do think qigong combines emotional healing,
Yeah.
spiritual growth, and
Absolutely.
obviously physical healing. Like, It's
Absolutely.
it's the it's the whole gamut.
Yeah.
In China, they used to have qigong hospitals before the communist revolution. People
Yeah.
weren't actually given pills. They went to qigong hospitals to heal and were given a prescription of
Yeah.
this movement medicine.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing. And as Master Lin, the founder of it, talks about it, it
Yeah.
combines, see, in Ashtanga, I
Yeah.
loved it, but it never
Yeah.
brought in the spiritual. So, one example for
Mhm.
anybody listening is if I'm doing the movement for the liver energy system, which is
Yeah.
the liver, gallbladder, tendons, and ligaments, it's on duty in spring. That's why some people feel stiffer in first degree.
Yeah.
When we do this movement, as you know, Jen, I'm just doing a sample of it. Hands like a water wheel, it comes up to the top, down to your stomach, like a water wheel. We bring in, so, first of all, the liver holds anger, it holds impatience, it holds irritation. We all have this. So, what do we do in the five elements of Spring Forest Qigong and Chinese medicine? We bring in the opposite of anger, which is happiness. So, we actually say in this present moment, I am bringing in happiness. Happiness is moving through my thoughts. Happiness is in my words. When I allow the feeling of happiness, my vibration changes. So that's just a little example, but if you can stay there, you do the breathing, we have another part of the movement. I'm just giving you a sample. Your
Yeah.
free, your vibration, we're energy. Quantum physics is now we're finally talking about it. It's not
Yeah.
woohoo. We're energy. Your words and thoughts have energy. So in Ashtanga yoga, I did this beautiful practice, but there was no thought of bringing
No.
in uplifting
No.
emotion to help the
Yeah.
anger in my system, which is held in the liver.
Yeah.
That's why you can have brittle nails, weak hair, eyes are connected to the liver system. That's why the whole elements, we work all the five elements, but it's absolute simplicity. You can do it sitting, standing, or lying
Yeah.
down using your visualization,
Yeah.
and you still move the energy.
Absolutely. And you're not just, so you do classes on Saturdays.
Yep.
And what's your other day? Tuesdays?
Tuesday
Tuesdays.
nights.
And
Yep.
what times do you do those?
Saturdays at 9 a.m. and
Okay.
Tuesdays at 7:15. I do a 45 minutes at 7, and we do a prep, what's called a stage, right? You preparation movements. You know, this one for
Okay.
the
Yeah.
stomach
Tapping.
channel,
Yeah.
right? Right under the
Yeah.
eyes to the bladder channel. We do all those. We activate the system. Then we move into the cultivation movements.
Yeah.
And then at the end, I do a meditation And then we wrap it all up with soothing, nourishing exercises.
Absolutely.
So,
And you're
and then
so much more than just those classes because I'm on your email. I've been to your classes. So it's so much more. So for those of you that are wanting an introduction to this, Steffi does not just the class, but then the email actually lays out the different elements that you're focusing on, what's happening in the moon cycle, what's happening within our bodies, what energy is kind of floating in that particular
yeah,
time and space. And you
yeah.
explain it. And then that's the preparation for the class, correct?
Absolutely, you said it so well, Jen. This is succinctly, that's beautifully. That's why you help so many people. You bring it all together, and again, to the people, Tanya and Greta, exploring what's
Yeah.
next, right? Or what both exploring.
Yeah.
This is the time working with the lunar cycle to write out what do you
Yeah.
love, and what do I want to explore. And we've been taught in Western society, you
Yeah.
have to know, you should be aware. No, the magic is, and believe me, I'm not always this brave. I'm sharing what I'm trying to do more, is I'm not quite sure. I'm in the unknown here. Well,
Yeah.
you know what if this is the next chapter of my life? So on an energy level, what if questions instead of affirmations? The brain doesn't always believe
No
affirmations, right?
question.
You know this.
Yeah.
What if questions? You're curious. So what if I find something that makes me so happy? What, and you say it a few times a day. You're getting
Absolutely.
curious. The universe loves curiosity. The brain is great for planning, analyzing, and just
Yeah.
getting things done. It's not good for finding your happiness.
No.
You ever notice if you're in a room and the energy doesn't feel good, or a person says something?
Mhm.
Pay attention to that. You're drawn to something energetically, you get uplifted. That's what to pay attention, not what your parents told you should do, your
No.
partner or your kids.
Listening to
What
that
you,
innate wisdom.
yes, that's
So
what, that, right?
breathing.
That's what
Yeah.
Qigong and meditation helps us do. It helps us
Yeah.
let go,
Our
right?
souls know. Our
Right.
souls know what is right for
Right.
us in any given moment. You know, you and I talk about this a lot, but
Yeah.
in a world that we're bombarded by so many options, it doesn't mean that we don't utilize those resources, but no one knows us like we know ourselves. And so
Mhm.
it's really important, whatever tactics you utilize, to get closer to that quiet, to that stillness, to be able to listen and engage. And Qigong not only allows you to listen, but then to move with that energy and to affirm and to recreate. And it's just so, it's incredibly powerful. Steffi, why do you think,
Mhm.
and this may be self evident in the answer, but why do you think presence, being present, is so important, particularly in our world now?
Oh, wow. And I'm still working on it. Um,
Oh,
I think we don't listen. Thich Nhat Hanh, the Buddhist monk who
yeah,
passed away, peace in every step. Presence is one of the best gifts you can give another human being. And in our day of technological distractions, presence is a huge gift. Not money, not gifts, but your presence. Your listening presence is holding someone, not fixing, but holding them is one of the best things you can do. And I find dogs, I'm a big animal fan.
yeah,
I do find dogs have beautiful presence. And in my neighborhood, I've noticed lately I've been meeting more neighbors. So a lot of them I didn't know before. And that's on my walks. And just taking time, I saw a older man's garden, and I said, "Oh, you have beautiful daffodils." And he came out and we had a 15-minute conversation. I haven't met him in 20 years. And I met
wow,
another neighbor walking along. And that's also, I believe, practicing unconditional love in our
yeah,
hearts. That sounds, oh, that's so simplistic. But no, I have to practice it. It's
yeah,
not always naturally in me. And Jen,
no,
to your point, I think daily rituals, and if we're
mhm,
able, if you want me to share, if
yeah,
it's up to you,
please
I
do.
think daily rituals
Yeah,
are incredibly important for
yeah,
presence. So
precisely.
I bring in the people I mentioned, teachers I like, right? David
Yeah,
G. He has the book Sacred Powers. What's written on your tombstone? Amazing story.
yeah,
Sonia Choquette, spiritual leader. I read a lot of her books. Marie Manichuri, Master Lin of Spring Forest Qigong, Dr.
mhm,
Joe Dispenza, and I bring all these people I really like, and I distilled it down along with my daily Qigong practice
mhm,
to rituals. So I'll give you
yeah,
an example, and if this is helpful to
yeah,
anyone. When I wake up in the morning, first my Qigong for spring. So I'm going to bore you all with the spring Qigong tip. Stretch your feet. The bottom of your feet and your hands have 6 meridians. Now that the liver channel needs to be taken care of, before you get out of bed, stretch your feet and open up your feet channels. It helps your digestion and sluggish energy and is good for your liver. That's one.
Amazing.
Number two, I think about my future self. Dr. Joe Dispenza will do a wonderful meditation on what is your future self. That's what you want to bring into your life. So I'll go, what do I want my future self to be like today? And I think about the good things, smiling at the plants, taking the dogs, doing things before I start work, coming into my computer, having a nice note, and then I will go downstairs. Sorry, no, one other thing. I do a Qigong meditation called Small Universe, which brings
Okay.
all your body's energy channels around you.
Beautiful.
And then I say a prayer, my own prayer of bringing in good energy that I want to spread light. Then I go downstairs, dogs are following, and I go to my corner window. I take a glass of yin yang water, which is half hot, half room temperature, good for the digestive system, the liver, and the pancreas.
Mhm.
And then I bless it because in Qigong, we bless water. It's
Yeah.
very simple. If anyone has a cup of water right now,
Yeah.
you can do it with me right now. Jen, have you got some?
Yeah.
Okay. So think of an intention that, let's say you want to bring in love and you want to be grounded in love today. You take your sword fingers. This is called sword fingers, the 2 fingers beside the thumb. Bring
Mhm.
these fingers down and don't worry about being technically perfect. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Think about the love from your heart and let's bring in grounded love into our water. Let's bless our water, bringing whatever you want. You can have your own intention, bringing that in. And then we're going to cup it in. It's called thunder palms. I'm not doing it perfectly. It doesn't matter. You're going to just seal it in. And then we're going to take a sip. That's just a ritual, right? I bless you. We're made. Yeah, right. It's all
Feel the
there.
zing.
It's all
Feel
there.
the zing.
But we are made of water. Our oceans
Yeah.
are water. Our water gets
Absolutely.
recycled. I heard a wonderful comment from Sarita Soul, another great teacher, that if we all blessed our water, we would help the planet. Because it gets,
Wow.
remember, this water is going to go through me, go
Go through
down,
and
go.
out and back.
Exactly. So, and then I go to my corner, which I have a big giant tree. This isn't that long. I'm making it long, but I get my journal. I write out I am, I have, I do, because I'm giving I am magical, whatever you want. I am
Yeah.
courageous, of courage. Then I write out 10 things I'm grateful for. Then I try to hear a message from spirit, just
Mhm.
what do I want to hear today? Please express to me what is in my highest good. I go
What
quiet.
would you have me know?
And
Yeah.
then I write out my 3 desires.
Yeah.
So I've narrowed it down and I
Yeah.
have 3 desires. And that's my morning
Wow.
ritual. And I do it at night, almost the same thing.
Yeah.
And then in the middle of
So
the day, I
important.
do art coherence. So that's a long answer, but I think
No.
rituals, if you can incorporate a
Everything.
ritual, will change your life.
It changes everything. And I do coaching as well too. Dr. Tanis Gatens
Sure.
is on here. We've been working together for almost a year. And she has Glow Life, that's her business, and she's
Wonderful.
a psychologist, a psychiatrist, child and adolescent, and then moved into wellness for the last 21 years with Arbonne, and then has these
Fantastic.
rituals. And so we talked a lot about that in our work together, and she had her own rituals, and then deepening that with visualization and connection, and whatever that ritual is. Mine is very similar to yours, Steffi. It's a daily thing. It makes such a difference. I have also noticed in my own life when I get away from that.
Mhm.
If life gets too busy and I get away from it, I start operating from my headspace.
Mhm.
Things become a lot more sketchy and a lot less aligned. I notice a huge difference in the energy of my business as I'm building things. It is really important, if we're going to build things of authenticity in the world, that we're flowing from that place.
Absolutely. Why don't we do a heart math
Everything.
moment right now, Jen?
Yes,
Let's do it.
absolutely. Yeah,
Be-
let's just move
because
into
if
some
anyone wants
practices.
simple rituals, Heart Math Institute,
Yeah,
unbelievable. 2-minute coherence. So we'll
yeah.
just do a little shorter than that.
Please.
Let's put our hands on our heart. Find the place where your heart is. Let's feel your warm palms on your heart. Let's connect there. And then let's close our eyes and start breathing gently through the heart. Release the shoulders, unfurl the brows, and just breathe in through the heart. and start to feel a rhythmic breathing. Don't force it. Just gently and lovingly, almost like you're holding yourself with tender love. And as you breathe in, consider something that makes you feel happy. It can be a person, a thing, a place. And feel that for a moment. And feeling that love you have for that person, place, or thing, start to feel that love for you. Like the universe is offering you such great love. And feeling that love for you, feel yourself grounded, your feet with the earth, your heart open. And take a few more breaths here. And when you are ready, slowly open your eyes. Just what did that
Just
take
takes
us
a
to?
moment. Just takes a moment.
Mhm, mhm.
Just takes. Thank you for that, Steffi.
Oh, absolutely. I try to
There's
do
so
that.
much more for there is so much more. But try that today, folks. Like that.
Okay.
It's just beautiful. Whatever it is for you, it's about reminding ourselves. It's the reason why we started the Soulful Way. And I had done all this values action alignment work in corporations and nonprofits and yes, that's the Heart Math.
The
So
Heart Math
Janice asked,
Institute
Heart Math
tends.
Institute is
They're
phenomenal.
wonderful. Dr. Joe
Yeah.
Dispenza does a lot of work with them, and they have like two
Yeah.
minute heart coherence techniques. And people that come to my Qigong classes, you're welcome, Trish, will often incorporate the heart math too. Just
Absolutely.
that moment. And the
Yeah.
self love, we don't have enough self worth. We're not
No.
taught that.
No.
And I talk to myself in the mirror. I didn't mention that ritual, but
Yeah.
especially if I've had
Me
a hard
too.
day, oh, you too,
Yeah.
Jen, I'll go,
I do.
honey, you know what? You did the best you could do. I am
Yeah.
so proud of you. We're going to do it better next time. And I stay there. There's a book called
Yeah.
Love Yourself Like Your Life Depends on It.
Yeah.
And it was a man who had started a company and then it folded and he was just devastated. And the
Mhm.
only way he could take himself out of that pit was to start loving himself like his life depended
Yeah.
on it. And I think all of
Mhm.
this comes down to great self love and trusting that the universe has our back.
Absolutely.
Even if
And
people
there's so
around
much
us don't see.
worth. There's so
Mhm,
much worth that we're called, that connection to ourselves. When you asked to pick a person, place, or thing, I
mhm.
picked myself. And then you said, and
Good
for
for
to
you.
direct that. But I think that's, I feel like when we live in these values, like every month we're focusing on a different value, but whether
Mhm.
it's through ritual, whether it's through focus, that's part of the goal of what we're trying to do is to provide that ability for people to anchor in. And Todd and I talked lots about it last weekend
Mhm.
when we on the soulful session. But when we become focused on that, the presence, the heart, whatever those rituals are, we see more of it in the world. We experience it more in the
That's
world.
it.
We see more
That's
of
it.
it. But
Yeah.
it seems, as you said earlier, it seems so simple. These things like kindness or these things like presence, they seem so simple, but there is nothing more foundational or valuable in our lives because everything else flows from that. Our world would be a very different place if we were really cultivating our connection to that.
Absolutely. And to that note, everybody's focused a lot on what's going on in the world.
Yeah.
For peace, don't focus so much on the outside, on the noise.
No.
And that some people will say Earth is regenerating itself of ancient
Mhm.
wounds. And if we focus more on us and what makes us happy, our energetic levels actually contribute to the Earth's
Absolutely.
consciousness. So think of it this way, I don't even watch the news anymore. I get an update and I'm fine with knowing a bit that's going on. I don't know
Yeah.
everything that's going on because it's not
Yeah.
making me happy. And
Yeah.
so I contribute in my own way by being more peaceful and more loving. That's where I can help the planet. So
Absolutely.
not looking outside, but coming inside
Mhm.
brings presence. Can I tell that cute short story about the
Please do.
man? Okay, David G. And
Yeah.
if someone has a question, you go ahead, Jen, if you want me to answer anything. I saw
Yeah.
something right there.
Rebecca asked, Steffi and Jennifer, what do you think about gemstones in water in a water bottle? So do you want to speak to that, sweetie?
Sure. And who asked that?
That's Rebecca. That's
Rebecca,
Rebecca.
Rebecca, I think if that makes you happy, and I
Yep.
think if you connect to the gemstone,
Agree.
absolutely. Crystals are part of, and
Yeah.
gemstones are part of feng shui. So I
Absolutely.
follow Spring Forest Qigong's feng shui
Yeah.
tips for my home each year. And I do 7 pennies in my south west corner. I had to think about that.
Yeah.
Southwest for the home, the energy of the home. So if gemstones speak to you, and if you want to add a little extra energy to them, put them under when there is a full moon and let
Yeah.
them be cleansed in that moon. But honestly, it's what makes your heart happy. There are
It's
no
so much
rules.
about our perspective, right? It's like
Yeah.
what the attachment that if we have an energetic joy connected to that or an energetic feeling connected to that, it really doesn't matter, and working in communications, which is my background, it's the meaning we ascribe to something that holds that power, right?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. So go with your heart, what your heart feels. So quickly,
So please tell that story.
David G, who wrote
Yeah.
Sacred Powers, was on Wall Street, very successful guy on Wall Street, but not
Mhm.
happy, not happy at all. And one
Wow.
day he was walking on the street, and a homeless man grabs his leg. And at first he's like, okay, I'll give you money. Just wait, just relax, relax. And the man said from the floor, like from the sidewalk, I don't want your money. And he said, what do you want? He was very impatient, right? What do you want? He goes, I want you to ask yourself, what's written on your tombstone? And he stopped and he went, oh my God, here, take my money. But he was really like this really,
Yeah.
and he went home that night and he couldn't get that question. And he said, oh no, let me give you money. I'm changing the story. I forgot. Let me give you, I goes, I don't want your money.
No,
I want you to think about what's written on your
absolutely.
tombstone. He went home that night. He had
Mhm.
red hair. That night, he woke up and his hair was all white. And he decided to quit his job on Wall Street
Wow.
and went to Tamil, mountains of Tamil, and did a past life reading of all his lifetimes with a tea leaf reader.
Mhm.
He is now one of the top meditations teachers in the world. And you'll
Beautiful.
find him on Insight Timer,
Mhm.
on anywhere. But Sacred Powers, when anyone going through change,
Yeah.
is I would really recommend reading his story
Beautiful.
too. These brave souls who totally changed their life, not knowing what's next. And that's where rituals can ground
Trust.
us with
Mhm.
self love and
Yeah.
then and being around good energy. Don't let the naysayers, right? There's not everyone's going to like us or agree with us or think it's right, but what does your energetic being feel?
Absolutely.
That's why I love Qigong. I get to go into my energy. So I hope that story was helpful. I loved his story. I
Absolutely.
was fascinated by that.
I actually, for years, for workshops, I worked in the epitaph reflection that you would write out what was written on your tombstone. And,
Oh,
for that, your epitaph, right? But I
yes,
do like whatever it is, these are great, great recommendations, sweetheart. So we'll go through and create a list and then I'll send it out to folks for sure. Cause I
perfect.
know that they, all of these resources outside and then working on the ones inside. It's
Yes,
beautiful. I'm so grateful, Stat. It's just beautiful.
absolutely.
We'll be having more conversations together. I know we will. I mean, Steffi and I really, one little thing I just want to touch on. You're an introvert. And
Yes, I am.
so for people listening,
Mhm.
I think, and that really, you think television personality, and then you move into corporate kindness, you're doing all these talks, but you're an introvert, kind of extrovert, but it's that introvert element of you. So, how has that kind of influenced that shift to here?
Oh,
And
wow.
maybe talk to those because I know there's some introverts on here that, would do well to hear what you have to say.
That's a great question. An introvert can be gentle yet still strong. So I had to accept the fact that I need more quiet than anyone else. And I was shy too. So I'd be like, oh, a shy introvert. That's
Yeah.
why, in a way, I liked communication because I could tell stories. It wasn't about
Yeah.
me. But
Yep.
it wasn't until I really tuned into my energy and self love and
Mhm.
really came into more of my presence. I say no a lot to things that don't align with me. I'm okay when people go, "Oh, don't you want to go out there? Don't you want to do that?" And I'll be like, No, I need
I'm good.
quiet. I need quiet." So that's a great question, Jen. I think our society is so focused on extroverts.
Absolutely.
And I think being an introvert also helped me tap into the quiet within a lot more, that it
Mhm.
feeds me because I know I nourish that side of me. It doesn't embarrass me anymore being an introvert. I used to think, "Oh, what's wrong with me? I don't want to be with people all the time. I need a lot of quiet. What's wrong with me?" Well,
Mhm.
now, because nobody gave you those tools, right? Those
No.
struggles I had that about
Mhm.
not being so introverted. And I used to drink alcohol to go to parties where I would use
Yeah.
alcohol as a bit of a crutch.
Yeah.
I've really worked through that. And that's the
Yeah.
self love piece. That's the,
Yeah.
honey, you're okay. You're going to go to this event. You're going to go to this thing. I'm so proud of you. And I work with energy more than the thinking mind now. So now I try to send love ahead to a room or a
Mhm.
place. And I
Mhm.
try to think, I'm going to be the light and the energy, the good energy in the room. I'll find the shy
Absolutely.
person and talk to them. So if I'm
Absolutely.
working with my heart, my shyness or introversion doesn't take over so much. It's more, I allow the gentle presence, and you can still be strong and be
Yeah.
an introvert.
And it's funny, I think there's a misnomer as well too, because even though, a lot of people would have seen you as an extrovert for a lot of years. And
Yes.
I know even for me, um, I am that blend of introvert extrovert because people would say, "Oh, you're so extrovert," but I need a full refilling of my cup. Going into nature, I go on silent retreats all the time.
Love to.
I've
That's
always done that.
awesome. Yeah.
It's so important. I walked El Camino for, by
Right.
myself in total solo presence. And there's a misnomer. And that's why I wanted to talk about that is that a lot of times people go, "Oh, well, it's easy for you because, you're an extrovert or this comes naturally to you." But it really is that focus on within. And you just, you touched on it. It's not about you. And so even as a professional speaker, when I would go onto stages, of course you get
Mhm.
nervous when you're sharing, but for years I would just go into meditation and then say, "It's not about you. You're here to serve. Whatever is meant to be said will be said. Whatever, and I pray that whatever's meant to be said will be said, and whatever doesn't need to be said, I hold back on." And so I think that it's important for people to know that as you're sharing, particularly on a platform like Substack, where you're sharing in different ways. Sometimes it's on video, sometimes it's about creatively sharing your voice, writing, playing music, whatever your way is. It's beautiful and it's perfect in the way that it's meant to unfold.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
introverts have got to give themselves more time to be quieter, to do
Yeah.
different activities. They're not fed by being constantly busy and
No.
noisy. And so, knowing that about ourselves, we
It's
can honor it.
huge.
I say to
Yeah.
people, I'm an introvert. They'll say, "Oh, do you want to meet my friends?" I'm like, "Actually, no." Not because I'm sure their friends
I'm
are
good.
lovely,
Yeah.
but I don't need to overextend
No.
myself. I want to have deep
No.
conversations and
Absolutely.
presence in the friendships I do have. To
Absolutely. And I
yours.
know that a couple people said here, like I think it was Carla that said, boundaries are so important. Absolutely. You need to be able to, and these are workshops that I've done for years, through the years about speaking your truth from a place of center with respect. That to know your own truth and then feel aligned with that part of you, that's those things that are truly and deeply important to you, and being able to speak your truth, to set those boundaries, for years. And this, Steffi, my business, my first one was called Center of Yes. And then my second was Project Yes Life. And it was about yes. But there's a good thing for yes people out there is that saying no to one thing is just saying yes to what you truly prioritize and what truly matters to you, because the no's are as important as the yeses.
Exactly. And I'm gonna just quickly share another
Yeah,
energy
please.
thing. People find it interesting. You've heard it before, many of you. Our
Yeah.
body is a compass. And this is an ancient one.
Mhm.
I was reminded of it recently. If you are asked to go to something or do something, don't think with the mind. Go into presence, ask the question, and see if your body moves forward or backwards. Have you done that one, Jen? That's your
I actually
body
do
as a
it by
compass.
expression, like
Okay.
expression, where you look and what's the I'll close my eyes and then look in a mirror, and is your expression of joy,
Mhm.
or like where's the twinkle?
Mm.
Because if there's
Ah,
a sparkle, then you know that's something for your soul or tapping within. But yeah, that's so beautiful. And I know Tanya said yes, for sure. I'm also an introvert, so I'm so glad. That's just, it's really important to be able to touch on these different elements of how we show up in the world and know that however you show up is beautiful, exactly as it is. And there
Absolutely.
is energy. I know there's a couple of folks on here that have showed up for workshops that we do every month. And one gal's not here with us today, but she's from India and she seeks, so she doesn't show her face on camera ever. But,
Mhm.
and even in these calls, we are now learning the energy of this exchange. You don't
Mhm.
have to be on the stage
Mhm.
to affect the energy. You don't have to be in presence with someone holding their hand to affect the energy. You don't have to be wrapping your arms around the whole world. You can send your energetic thoughts to things and they absolutely have power. And the beautiful thing is now, things you and I have talked about for over 20 years, the science is now catching up on. And that was the Soulful Way newsletter last week, was about the neurology, the neuroscience around presence and how much we know about mindfulness now. Whereas you and I would talk about it, tapping into those ancient faiths and, those gurus, those masters that would talk about these things because they knew it intuitively. But now we can measure it and we can see how energy affects things. And it's beautiful. It's not necessary, but it's beautiful for those that needed to make the leap through science,
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely.
Doctors,
That's
nurses,
that's right. Like
right?
Sonia Choquette had a great quote the other day. The spiritual teacher. She said, "For 10 years, I was the weirdo in the
Yep,
room. I was the
100%. Me too.
weirdo. Now everybody comes to me for advice. So
Yeah,
it's just so important to know
yeah.
yourself and not worry if you're part of the popular crowd or you're not, or you're unpopular. Stick with your authentic inner voice.
Absolutely.
Right?
20 years, like showing, I did the first personal development workshops for Calgary Health Region, 20,000 employees, doing the talks to healthcare companies. And they would look at you like you were insane. And, they kind of give you the, oh, okay. And they think you were crazy. And then I remember about 10 years after I'd left the company, I got a call that said, will you come and be the keynote speaker for our provincial conferences for,
Yeah.
all of our staff to talk about heroism and our role in our own wellness. And I was like, oh, that's amazing. And when I showed up, I'd been talking about cultivating heroism within, right, as a way of flowing out to others. And when I showed up at this conference, all the people had these like scarves tied around their necks, like their capes. And I remember I stepped out on stage and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm with my people. Like, oh, you finally understand. But for years there was that leap, but we have to be those people that follow our own souls no matter what's going on around us, and just trust that there's a reason why you're approaching it the way you are, why you're sharing the way you are, and just continually listening within. It's so beautiful. So I
Absolutely.
just want to go through. So Rebecca said thank you for sharing about introverts. I fully relate. Susan Kane talks a lot about this. That's beautiful. Another resource.
Mhm.
Greta, trying to be an extrovert has caused so many problems in my
Oh,
life.
oh,
It's like hearing my life through you both.
I
Yes,
I agree,
absolutely.
Greta. When I pretended to be
Oh,
extroverted, it was always hurting me.
yeah.
It wasn't authentic. And I did that
No.
a lot of the times. I went to
Yeah.
boarding school, and because I was so shy, I would pretend to be outgoing. And it was
Yeah.
never authentic,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. And finding that way back to yourself, now you're in alignment. Now every day you're in alignment. I think that's the ultimate goal for all of us, is to feel in alignment with your soul, to feel happy, feel content, even more than happiness. For me, it's that contentment. You're not always feeling happy. You're
No.
not always feeling elated, but you feel aligned. You feel aligned and attuned. We talked last Sunday about, I actually looked at a presence from three different perspectives in wisdom traditions. So Buddhism about the awareness, and then we looked at Taoism as far as the attunement, and then Sufism as the relationship with the moment. And it was really fascinating to look at those different areas, but it's however it comes to us to remain aware and attuned and in relationship with ourselves and others in a way that's authentic. That's the ultimate goal for all of our lives, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Gail said, true, true, so true. Steffi, it has been a joy. This is so beautiful because we've not done an interview like this before. We talk authentically one-to-one throughout the years,
Right.
on and off, and we can
Right.
go, months without speaking together. And then when
Yes.
we do, it's like not a second has passed. And I just love to see where your journey has flowed into and how you're serving and, connecting with people now on so many levels, honey. And so how can people connect with you, darling? So maybe just let people know where they can reach out
Sure,
to you.
sure. First of all, thank you for the opportunity to share, and I love your audience that they share and ask questions, and we're all moving together, right? We're all interconnected. And I teach the twice a week Qigong online movement medicine meditation, and then I coach with the Qigong, and I do amateur astrology, Astro Kisses. I'm
Mhm.
Steffi Black coaching.
Yeah.
And if anyone just wants to say hi, they don't have to purchase anything. I just want to connect. I'm just grateful to be here and talk about soulful things, Jen. Thank you for bringing
Absolutely.
that to us.
So beautiful. I love this. I love it. It's a dream to have you. It's a dream to have you on the Soulful Adventure, my sweetheart. So next Saturday, everyone. So thank you for everyone that showed up. Thank you for those of you that are even watching the recording. However it comes to you is just how it's meant to be and unfold. I hope those practices serve you. Well, as I say in the newsletter this week, we'll put a little recap of what's going on. And in the newsletter, we also have a link to the recording on YouTube and on Substack. Next Saturday on the 25th is our Together on Zoom workshop called the Soul of Presence. And we're going to be doing a lot more of this kind of work. Exactly what Steffi was talking about, going within, asking ourselves those questions about what is ritual and presence for us, and then working through some of the practices and giving you some new tools. And then those of you that know me, we've been doing, the Fill to Flowing meditation that I wrote about in Just One Soulful Thing, which is aligned with all of this. We're going to be doing some practices and meditations from that book. So if you can join us, we'd love, 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 love you to join us. You can become part of the Soulful Collective, or if you've never tapped into one of the workshops, we just joyfully give you a complimentary pass for the first one. And if, finances is ever an issue for you, but you want to join the collective, you just reach out. We always want to make it available to anyone who wants it and who is aligned with that. Thank you for all the messages. Thank you. I wish you all a flowy week ahead. I love that, Trish. Steffi, that's a lovely note from you. Thank you both very much. Greta, so lovely to have Rebecca. Beautiful souls. Really is. This is the dream of my lifetime that we bring kindred spirits together and we just share time like this for however long we have. And I'm just so grateful. We worked through all the glitches and had no glitches as a result.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
lots of
Everybody, a
love.
heartfelt presence. Thank you, Jen. Thank you.
Absolutely. Lots of love, everybody. Have a beautiful day. To your week of flowy, as Trish says, and a week of beautiful present moment living in all your rituals, in all your ways, in all your relationships. Lots of love, everybody. Mwah. Steffi, thank you, honey.
It was
Lots of love,
lovely,
man.
Jen. You have a lovely audience. Thank you so
Beautiful.
much. Bye.
Thank you, sweetie. Bye, guys. Thank you. Thanks, Tanis. Bye. Tana said, thanks so much. Bye, everybody. Thank you.